War in itself is a monster. It's often said that war is hell, but what's hell without at least the occasional demon? Perhaps that's why some of the most plausibility-straining monster sightings in history have been set against the backdrop of a world gone mad with violence and death. However, across the centuries there have been reports by soldiers of actual monsters in the theater of war. Some experienced fighters even claim that they have been reduced to primal panic and dread when faced with creatures that, in their mind, should not exist. According to the following accounts, it seems that soldiers deployed on the battlefield may just have more to fear than simply the human enemy. Here are our top 5 war monsters.
5. The U-28 encounter. Sea crocodile. The U-28 creature is not the name of an individual monster, but rather the name given to a single sighting of a yet-to-be-identified beast. During World War I, British steamer was patrolling off the coast of Ireland, when it was attacked by a U-28 German submarine. The steamer tried its best to escape, but the U-28 managed to get in 2 direct hits and the British steamer sank shortly after. The sinking would be all but forgotten today, if it was not for a very odd sighting that was later found in the captain's log. The captain wrote that he was standing on the submarine's tower, watching the British steamer sink. As it was sinking he heard a very large explosion, possibly caused by the ship's boiler, and this huge explosion threw a mysterious sea creature clear out of the water. The captain stated, in his log, that whatever this creature was something he had never seen before. He said that it must have been at least 60 feet long, and it looked like an alligator. This creature had front and hind legs adapted for swimming and a very long head that tapered towards the nose. The captain believes that he witnessed a creature that was supposed to be extinct or unknown to science. A Belgian zoologist found out about this amazing sighting and was able to get a hold of the captain's log. After reading the captain's log, the zoologist believes that the captain came face to face with an ancient species of crocodile. Now it wasn't just the captain that saw this creature. 7 other crew members also witnessed this, making this a very credible case, as they were all able to observe this creature for about 20 seconds, giving the captain and his crew plenty of time to observe this creature. Because of this rare documented sighting, some zoologists now believe that there might just be an ancient species of crocodile still alive to this very day in some remote locations throughout the world. Now I know that this might sound crazy to some, but let's not forget that in 1938 fishermen in South Africa caught a coelacanth, and this ancient fish was thought to be extinct for 65 million years. It is safe to say that at this point in time the mystery of the U-28 creature may never be solved, with all eyewitnesses of the encounter having passed away and the Iberian resting at the bottom of the North Atlantic. Perhaps one day the discovery of a creature similar to that described by the crew of the U-28 may shed new light on this encounter. However, we will still never know if that new discovery is what the captain reported that day or if something else, still unknown, lurks in the depths of the last great unexplored region of planet Earth, the ocean. 4. The Moorbach monster. The German town of Wittlich is home to a strange legend, which might not be a legend at all, if U.S. soldiers stationed in the area are to be believed. According to the story, a deserter from Napoleon's army found his way to the town, where he attacked and murdered a local farmer and his wife. However, before the farmer's wife drew her last breath, she cast a curse on the feral soldier, turning him into a monstrous wolf. Mad with rage, the creature rampaged through the countryside until a mob of townsfolk hunted it down and killed it. The story is fairly well known. A local American football team even called themselves the Moorbach Monsters, but not particularly exceptional by the standards of werewolf lore. More interesting are the experiences of American servicemen stationed at the nearby Han Air Base during the Cold War. Apparently, a number of the American troops saw a mysterious wolf-like creature while patrolling the forested edges of the base. According to 2 anonymous accounts collected by the University of Pittsburgh, military policemen investigating a perimeter alarm stumbled upon a dog-like animal, which stood up on its hind legs and looked at them. The creature then took 3 long leaping steps and jumped over a high fence. The accounts differ on the exact height of the fence, but agree that it was taller than a man. The beast then disappeared into the forest. A sniffer dog was brought in, but it went berserk with fear, refusing to track the creature. University of Mainz anthropologist Matthias Burgard subsequently collected several other stories from U.S. servicemen who said they had seen strange animals or odd movements deep in the woods. One airman said he had been stalked by a hidden, howling beast while walking his dogs. Another witness rejected the theory that the Americans might have been startled by local wild hogs. "I grew up on a farm in the USA and this was no hog." Yet another serviceman offered Burgard an alternate explanation for at least some of the sightings. "It was always fun to scare the new guys with stories of the werewolf and then make them do a security check of the perimeter on foot. One of our canines was this big black bouvier with bloodshot eyes. We would always send that dog's handler to meet the new guys."
3. Kraken. A squid-like Scandinavian sea monster, the kraken, is one of the best-known mythological creatures in the world, featuring in some of the most popular Hollywood releases of recent times. But the discovery of giant squid in the depths of the ocean has led some to speculate that there might be some truth in the occasional sighting of truly enormous cephalopods. One of the most dramatic kraken encounters came during World War II, when a British trawler was moored off the Maldives. Crewman A.G. Starkey was standing on deck one evening when he spotted something in the water and shone his torch on it. As I gazed, fascinated, a circle of green light glowed in my area of illumination. This green unwinking orb, I suddenly realized, was an eye. The surface of the water undulated with some strange disturbance. Gradually, I realized that I was gazing almost point blank at a huge squid. So far, that's not totally implausible, but Starkey then claimed he walked the length of the ship, finding the squid's head and tentacles at opposite ends. That would have made the creature 53 meters, 175 feet, in length, more than 3 times as long as the largest giant squid ever recorded. Oddly, Starkey doesn't seem to have called anyone else to take a look at the terrifying monster lurking near the boat, leaving his story uncorroborated. 2. Old Green Eyes. The Battle of Chickamauga, which was fought on the 19th and 20th of September, 1863 near Snodgrass Hill, on the Tennessee-Georgia border, was one of the bloodiest battles of the American Civil War, second only to the Battle of Gettysburg in regards to number of casualties. Indeed, it is said that so much blood was spilled on the battlefield that a creature of great malice was drawn to the devastation. A beast with green, glowing eyes is claimed to have haunted the land long before the arrival of the Civil War. After the Battle of Chickamauga, some reported seeing such a creature moving among the corpses near Snodgrass Hill. Such reports allegedly describe the monster as being human-like, with eerie, green eyes and a huge, deformed jaw, from which terrifying fangs protruded. In the centuries after the Civil War, visitors and rangers at the Chickamauga National Park have reported encounters with the same green-eyed creature. Some say that the entity is a ghost of a long-dead warrior. Others say that it is something else, something inhuman. Whatever the truth of the matter, the creature is known by those who report encountering it simply as Old Green Eyes. In the 1970s, 2 different and unrelated people had accidents near the same location in the park, having driven their cars off the road, wrecking them, after seeing a pair of glowing eyes. However, one of the most notable encounters involved Edward Tenney, a park ranger. Speaking during an interview in 1981, he explained how he was walking through the park at around 4 a.m., sometime in 1976, when an inexplicable chill rushed over his body. The very next moment, he watched as a green-eyed being stepped out of the darkness. In his own words, "When it passed me, I could see his hair was long like a woman's. The eyes, I'll never forget those eyes. They were glaring, almost greenish-orange in color, flashing like some sort of wild animal. The teeth were long and pointed like fangs. I didn't know whether to run or scream or what." Then the headlights of an approaching car came blazing through the fog, and the thing disappeared right in front of me. 4. Unfortunately, like so many sightings of unknown creatures in wartime, the original accounts of Old Green Eyes have become obscure and largely forgotten, lost to the tides of time. 1. Maskelyne's Scarecrow Monster. With all the media reports of supposed wartime monster sightings, it's no surprise that some slightly overenthusiastic officers have tried to make their own happen. The most famous case probably occurred in the Philippines during the 1950s. Colonel Edward Lansdale, was an American Air Force officer and intelligence operative who masterminded various psyops campaigns against the communist Huk insurgents in the country. At one point, that apparently involved faking a vampire attack. According to Lansdale's memoirs, a Huk squadron was dug in on a hill and local troops had been unable to dislodge them. So Lansdale decided to play on local superstitions involving a shape-shifting vampire known as an Aswang. The Psy-War squad set up an ambush along a trail used by the Huks. When a Huk patrol came along the trail, the ambushers silently snatched the last man of the patrol. They punctured his neck with 2 holes, vampire fashion, held the body up by the heels, drained it of blood, and put the corpse back on the trail. The Huks were gone by morning. Of course, we only have Lansdale's word for any of this, so draw your own conclusions. An even more unlikely fake monster story comes from World War II, when the British recruited a stage magician named Jasper Maskelyne to bamboozle the Germans with elaborate camouflage and deceptions. That much is true, but Maskelyne still felt the need to exaggerate his exploits in his memoirs, which are generally not considered reliable. During the invasion of Sicily, Maskelyne claimed to have created a device which was little more than a gigantic scarecrow, about 12 feet high and able to stagger forward under its own power and emit frightful flashes and bangs. This thing scared several Italian Sicilian villages, appearing in the dawn, thumping its deafening way down their streets with great electric blue sparks jumping from it, and the inhabitants, who were mostly illiterate peasants, simply took to their heels to the next village, swearing that the devil was marching ahead of the invading British. In both cases, cunning Western intelligence officers pulled off amazing scams, although whether they fooled illiterate locals or the literate book-buying public remains up for debate. Let us know what are your thoughts on this. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more weekly videos.